Well, that brings up a whole nother subject that I've been talking about for a very, very long time, which most people thought, no, Randy, this would not be the way that Elon Musk normally does things. He'll want it to be perfect. And the idea there was that the car, when it first comes out, or even over years, would have some geofenced aspects built in. And these might be in the preference when, as you're talking about, or it might be in the stack or in the chip. But so, for instance, let's say that there's I know in Hawaii, on the island of Maui, rental cars are not allowed to take the back way to Haleakala. You can go the old rugged road, if you will,
Right,
the seven pools, but
right,
you can't just keep going around the island and come back to Kihei. And so the that's geofenced off. Well, you can. There's nothing to keep you from,
right,
but the rental car says you're not covered if you're going to take that back route coming.
right.
Well, it seems like that Tesla could do that for lots of things.
Yeah,
They could say if there's
sure.
this much standing water, if there's these particular roads, they're geofenced out for robotaxi, et cetera, et cetera. And
Yeah,
then once again, you might be able to preferentially override those.
right. Yes, I think it goes both ways. You can geofence in, geofence out
Right.
areas. But there's another article I wrote on it's called the Robotaxi Drive-By, and talks a lot about some of the ideas of what may happen with robotaxi. And one of those is dynamic geofencing,
Mm,
and this very idea that um, robotaxi can exclude certain areas of a city very dynamically, like hour to hour,
right.
based on changing conditions,
Right.
based on the fleet ahead of it, seeing the condition.
Right.
So, for example, maybe the route by nav is to always go down this particular road to get from A to B, and the user unsuspectingly is just wants to get from A to B, and but what he doesn't know is that the Capitol Center is outflowing 20,000 people after a game.
Right.
Um, Capitol Center, the Warriors or something. Um, and so the idea is that that could be a dynamically injected geofence to basically say, don't go down this roadway, come back three roads.
Right.
That's the best dynamic route.
Mhm.
It could also, I mean, kind of crazy as it sounds, but remember earlier in our discussion, we were talking about giving the intent of a pedestrian. We look at a pedestrian, we can kind of infer intent. Believe me, that can go very, very deep to the point where we might even be able to profile not for not on an individual basis, but kind of just an aggregation of the environment,
Right.
be able to profile the kind of individuals in a street area
Mhm. Mhm.
and get a sense of like, oh, this is an unsafe.
Mhm.
It's a building protest. There's a protest about to occur, or there's crime, sort of gang related something going on, or there's drug dealing, or
Mhm.
something that's happening that is different than Tuesday. It's a Wednesday at 3 p.m. It's different, right? And therefore, through observation of the fleet, you could dynamically geofence off that area. And so, might that go through the context window as I described before? Yeah, it might. It might be a higher level order bit, if you will, go through the navigation system in general. Like the navigation system is informing the FSD what sort of global route to take for its plan, right? Um, so yeah, you can imagine circumstances like that. And what it does is it cleans up the whole problem of you have safer rides for individuals. You have faster rides, especially in these immediately congested areas of the city. Um, and I think that will happen. I don't think it'll happen on day one.
Mhm.
But remember, they have the sort of the raw material to do this, right? I mean, the cars are on the network. They can communicate to the cloud. They can pass up any information they want to the cloud. The cloud can build, taking data off the cars can build these geofences, exclusion zones, inclusion zones, whatever we were talking.
Sure.
Then you can also override those. For example, if it said the car might say to you, "Oh, I'm not going to take Third Street.
Jammed.
It's jammed," and you might say to it, "No, no, no, please do that. I want to go down Third Street anyway."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because you know something, or maybe you're just going to exit the ride halfway. Your intention was different anyway. So you could override those kind of preferences, perhaps. Maybe in some instances you can't.
Mhm.
But I think the theme here, as you go up a couple layers, is that the theme here is that the experience, when we want the car to at first drive as good as a human, which means as safe as a human. Now that's quite suspect anyway, because humans really aren't very safe drivers, but we think we are. And we also think we're good drivers. We're also not very good drivers in terms of our perception of the environment is slow, et cetera.
Is why we can't drive at 200 miles an hour.
Exactly. We can't drive at 200 miles an hour. I mean, some people can. Um,
Highly trained.
yeah, they're usually
Athletic.
sitting NASCAR or Formula One, but um, yeah, our perception time is too slow, and we build roads and we build road curvatures. There's the physics of the car, what a car can do with four wheels and this kind of spacing and so forth in terms of how it can stay on a roadway. We all know that. Some people don't when they drive the cars liberally off the road for some reason. But further than that is beyond the physics of the roadway. We also develop the roadway based on how the humans have perceived. So future states of that could be like maybe HOV lanes are converted to autonomy lanes, and they function more like Autobahn, where the cars can go 150 miles an hour because there's no reason they shouldn't, and they can travel at 2 feet of separation
Right.
at 150 miles an hour because there's no reason they shouldn't. The only reason that they shouldn't at that point is whether the human in the car is uncomfortable because. But think about a future state here is that when humans don't think of themselves as the first order drivers, and then we take rides in autonomous vehicles, that's going to swap. Most our kids literally will not be thinking about driving. They'll be thinking about riding, and therefore what they think a car does. I mean, people get in trains all the time. Trains go 200 miles an hour or whatever. Maybe not in this country, but maybe not on Amtrak. But
but there are bullet trains in China.
There are bullet trains.
Been on them in Japan.
Yep. So, but I mean, people don't give it two thoughts, right? They're in this thing. It's going fast. They're sitting there drinking coffee. So, so that type of thing is that the theme here is that we want to get to a point where we feel it's safe and we feel it's fluid and we feel it deals with our preferences in a way that kind of respects our humanness. How I think when I've queried people about like, would you ever want a car to drive you? And it's funny when I talk to some folks, their response is, no, I want control. Yeah. Like it's not just safety.
Yeah.
So no, I can't. No, I want control. Well, where do you lack control in a system that is highly responsive to you?
Right.
You don't. Yeah. You don't. I mean, why is a car highly responsive to you? Because you have your hands on, you have a low latency input to the controls, right? So if you think about what's going on with a car is for FSD and really humans, you have basically photon to control, right? So you're taking in light, eyes or camera. You're running it through this inference in our heads. It's our brains, our meat, our meat muscle here. On a car, it's the inference computer, and then we're actuating controls. We're applying some kind of acceleration, braking, and steering angle are the three principal inputs of the car. And so, I'm sorry, outputs that affect the controls. And so, if you look at FSD, from one end to the other end, that latency, you can see light, you can gather data from the cameras, push it through inference, get some change to controls 15 to 30 times a second, right? And that's with, say, hardware 4. Okay, so hardware 4 is rated at a certain amount of trillions of floating point operations per second, which is what makes it do its thing fast. And then hardware 5, which would be part of robotaxi, at least cybercab vehicles, is about order of magnitude faster, right? Or more processing, I should say, so therefore faster. But a human is about roughly 10x slower in decision framework from us perceiving light, running it through our kind of visual cortex, transferring down to our motor skill area, out through the nerves to the hands. So if you think about our user preferences are being controlled by our direct ability to control a steering wheel, to control accelerator pedal, control a brake. If you can say to a car, stop, and the car stops instantly, or, close there too, then you've minimized that latency to control as quickly as as if you could with direct control of the driver controls.
If you happen to be a big fan of the Cybertruck, you might also be interested in this super fun Cybertruck refrigerator magnet and bottle opener. It is made out of super thick stainless steel, just like the Cybertruck, and it has this giant magnet on the back, so it's going to hold a lot of stuff on your refrigerator. It's an amazing gift, and it comes in that great gift box that you saw before that uses a magnet opener, just almost like an Apple box, like when you get Apple products. You can buy it on Amazon for $29.95, or you can buy it direct from me by sending $25 to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. Please indicate whether you want the stainless steel look, or maybe you'd like to have this very clever camo version. And then if you're not in the US, please add $20 for freight. If you'd like more than one, please check the information below to get pricing, as well as all that information I just told you will be repeated in the information below. So once again, think about joining the channel, getting the up-to-date Tesla news every single day. I think you'll be glad you did.